In this class, I am explaining about the uses of monoclonal antibodies. First one, diagnostic application. Monoclonal antibodies in biochemical analysis. Diagnostic tests based on the use of monoclonal antibodies as reagents are routinely used in radioimmunoassay and enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay in the laboratory. These assays measure the circulating concentrations of hormones like insulin, human chorionic gonadotropin, growth hormone, and progesterone, thyroxine, and gastrin and renin, and the several other tissues and cell products like blood group, antigens, blood clotting factors, interferons. In recent years, a number of diagnostic kits using monoclonal antibodies have become commercially available. First one, pregnancy. A pregnancy by detecting the urinary levels of human chorionic gonadotropin. And the next one, cancer. Cancer estimation of plasma carcinoembryonic antigen in colorectal cancer and prostate specific antigen for prostate cancer. Besides, diagnosis estimation of tumor marker is also useful for the prognosis of cancers, that is gradful fall in a specific tumor marker is observed with the reduction of the tumor cell. And next one, hormonal disorders. Hormonal disorders analysis of thyroxine, triiodothyronine and thyroid stimulating hormone for thyroid disorders. And infectious diseases. Infectious diseases by detecting the circulatory levels of antigen specific to the infectious agents. For example, antigens of Neisseria, gonorrhea and herpes simplex virus for the diagnosis of sexually transmitted diseases. And next one, monoclonal antibodies in diagnostic imaging. Radio-labeled monoclonal antibodies are used in diagnostic imaging of diseases, and this technique is referred to as immunoscintigraphy. The radioisotopes commonly used for the labeling monoclonal antibody are iodine or technetium. The monoclonal antibodies tagged with radioisotope are injected intravenously into the patient. These monoclonal antibodies localize at specific sites which can be detected by imaging the radioactivity. In recent years, single photon emission computed tomography cameras are used to give a more sensitive three-dimensional appearance of the spot localized by radio labeled monoclonal antibodies. And first one, cardiovascular diseases. First one, myocardial infarction. This cardiac protein myosin gets exposed wherever myocardial necrosis, that is the death of the cardiac cells, occur. Anti-myosin monoclonal antibodies labeled with radioisotopes indium chloride is used for detecting the myosin and thus the site of myocardial infarction. Imaging of radio-labeled monoclonal antibodies is usually done after 24 to 48 hours of intravenous administration. This is carried out either by planar gamma camera or single photon emission computed tomography. It is possible to detect the location and the degree of damage to the heart by using radio labeled anti-myosin monoclonal antibodies. Thus, this technique is useful for the diagnosis of heart attack. And next one, deep vein thrombosis. Deep vein refers to the formation of blood clots within the blood veins, primarily in the lower extremities. For the detection of deep vein thrombosis, radioisotope labeled monoclonal antibodies detected against fibrin or platelets can be used. The imaging is usually done after 4 hours of injection. And fibrin specific monoclonal antibodies are successfully used for the detection of clots in thigh, pelvis, calf and knee region. And next one, atherosclerosis. Thickening and loss of elasticity or arterial walls is referred to as arteriosclerosis. Atherosclerotic plaques causes diseases of coronary and peripheral arteries. And arteriosclerosis has been implicated in the development of heart diseases, and monoclonal antibodies tagged with a radio label directed against activated platelets can be used to localize the arteriosclerotic lesions by imaging technique. Next one is cancer. It has monoclonal antibodies against many types of human cancers are now available. Is selected, and it has been possible to detect certain cancers at early stages. That is lung cancer, breast cancer and ovarian cancer. By employing the monoclonal antibodies, about 80% of specificity has been achieved for the detecting cancers by this approach. For example, an iodine labeled monoclonal antibodies specific to breast cancer sold when administered to the patient to detects by imaging the spread of cancer to other regions of the body. This is not possible by scanning techniques. And next one, therapeutic application. Monoclonal antibodies have a wide range of therapeutic applications, and monoclonal antibodies are used in the treatment of cancer, transplantation, and bone marrow and organs, autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular diseases, and infectious diseases. The therapeutic application of monoclonal antibodies are broadly grouped into two types. First one, direct use of monoclonal antibodies as therapeutic agents, and next one, monoclonal antibodies as targeting agents. And first one, monoclonal antibodies as direct therapeutic agents. Monoclonal antibodies can be directly used for enhancing the immune function of the host. Direct use of monoclonal antibodies causes minimal toxicity to the target tissues or the host. First one, in destroying disease causing organism. Monoclonal antibodies promote efficient absonization of pathogenic organisms and enhancing phagocytosis. In fact, monoclonal antibodies were found to protect against certain viral and bacterial diseases. Virus like hepatitis B virus and bacteria like Escherichia coli and Streptococcus and Pseudomonas species infection. And in the treatment of cancer, Monoclonal antibodies against the antigens on the surface of cancer cells are useful for the treatment of cancer. The antibodies bind to the cancer cells and destroy them. And in the treatment of AIDS, immunosuppression is the hallmark of AIDS. This is caused by reduction of CD4, that is cluster determinant antigen 4 cells of T lymphocytes. The human immunodeficiency virus binds to the specific receptor on CD4 cells by using surface membrane glycoprotein. And genetic engineers have been successful to attach Fc portion of mouse monoclonal antibody to human CD4 molecules. This 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 complex has high affinity to bind to membrane glycoprotein of virus infected cells. The Fc fragment induce cell mediated destruction of HIV infected cell. In the treatment of next one, in the treatment of autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and multiple sclerosis are of great concern. Some success has been reported in the clinical trials. And rheumatoid arthritis patients by using monoclonal antibodies directed against T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. And next one, monoclonal antibodies targeting agents. First one, monoclonal antibodies used as immunotoxin. Toxin can be coupled with monoclonal antibodies to form immunotoxins and used in therapy. For example, diphtheria toxin, Pseudomonas exotoxin, toxins used for cancer treatment. And second one, monoclonal antibodies in drug delivery. In general, the drugs are less effective in vivo. In vivo means in the living body when compared to in vitro. In vitro means in laboratory when tested with the cultured cell. This mainly due to the fact that sufficient quantity of the drug does not reach the target tissue. This problem can be solved by using tissue-specific monoclonal antibodies. The drugs can be coupled with monoclonal antibodies directed against the cell surface antigen of the cells and specifically targeted to reach the site of action in the treatment of certain diseases of prodrug. And in inactive form of drug can be used. This can be enzymatically converted to active drug in the target tissue. For this purpose, the enzyme is coupled with monoclonal antibodies that is directed against a specific cell surface antigen. This approach referred to as antibody directed enzyme prodrug therapy allows the effective delivery of the drug to the cell where it is required. And next one, monoclonal antibodies in dissolution of blood clot. A great majority of natural deaths are due to the blockage in coronary or cerebral artery by a blood clot. Fibrin is the major constituent of blood clot which gets dissolved by plasmin. Plasmin is formed by the activation of plasminogen by plasminogen activator. The blockage or arteries occurs due to inadequate dissolution of blood clot. Tissue plasminogen activator can be used as a therapeutic agent to remove the blood clots. A monoclonal antibodies directed against fibrin can be coupled to tissue plasminogen activator and used for degradation of blood clots. Monoclonal antibodies and plasminogen activator complex due to a high affinity gets attached to fibrin. Due to the concentration of plasminogen activator at the target spots, there is more efficient conversion a plasminogen to plasmin, which in turn dissolve the blood clot fibrin. And next one, monoclonal antibodies in radioimmunotherapy. The radioisotopes can be coupled to monoclonal antibodies that are directed against tumor cells. This allows the concentration of radioactivators at the desired sites and a very efficient killing of target cell, that is tumor cell. The advantage with radioimmunotherapy is the conjugated complex need not penetrate the cells as required in the immunotoxin therapy. And next one is imaging. Radio labeled monoclonal antibodies can be used for imaging of a number of different cancers. Radioimmunoscintigraphy is a functional examination that allows for the in vivo imaging of abnormal pathologic process such as infection, infarcts and malignant tumors. This is accomplished using radio-labeled antibodies and standard gamma scintillation cameras. Each patient receives a total body survey. The body survey is performed as a fully length anterior and posterior total body excision. In each case, selective planar images of areas known or suspected diseases are obtained in order to increase the accuracy of lesion size and location. And next one, vaccines. Monoclonal antibodies in vaccines. Vaccines attempts to develop therapeutic vaccines, especially against chronic diseases such as cancer, hold promise but have not yet been greatly successful. For example, therapeutic vaccines for lymphomas delivered disappointing result for phase 3 clinical trials. Several strategies are being developed to improve results, including optimization of antigen delivery and presentation, as well as enhancement of anti-tumor T cell function. Another example is therapeutic vaccination against hypertension, which shows some efficacy but in much less effective compared with existing drugs. Better immunogens or adjuvants are required so that potent antibodies with high titers and elicited. Thank you.